Today I'm going to be making a pineapple upside down cake ice cream. I'm going to start by caramelizing my chopped up pineapple. It's fresh. You could use a can if you don't have fresh, but I just happen to have some left over. And I'm going to put a lot of brown sugar on it so I get a nice sauce that's brown, just like when you have the pineapple upside down cake and it gets that kind of like a coating that surrounds it, and it's really super sweet. I'm going to use some of this, it's 0-calorie sugar, and it's a brown sugar. It makes sauces really well, but I thought I would need to use some regular brown sugar to make it to bring it to a higher level. I'm also going to put a little bit of molasses in that sauce to get it a really good flavor going. Once that is done, I'm going to add it to just a regular vanilla base, but it's not just regular vanilla. It's gonna start with the cream cheese. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla jello, and I'm going to put vanilla. I put vanilla in almost all my recipes, but I'm also going to put vanilla bean paste, and it really brings it to a new level, and a little bit of almond extract in the batter to make it taste a little bit like, it kind of brings out like a cherry flavor, and it makes it taste a little bit more like a cake. So that's going to be my base. I'm going to add that all together, and then I'm going to mix in some cherries at the end. So I'm going to start by doing my pineapple on the stove. I'm going to start by adding my pineapple. I'm going to reserve a couple pieces for the garnish at the end. I'm going to turn this up to medium heat. And I'm going to cook this for just until the pineapple starts to get soft. And the reason why I'm cooking this is twofold. For one thing, it's going to taste really good with the brown sugar and the little sauce going on to make it taste like a pineapple upside down cake. But for another thing, there's an enzyme in the pineapple, and if you put it in your ice cream or in any dairy milk-based product, the enzyme breaks it down, and it's not good. It makes like a bitter flavor. So cooking it makes it so it'll taste delicious in our ice cream. I've cooked this pineapple for about 5 minutes, and I noticed it seemed a little dry, so I added just a small pat of butter. And to make this into a nice sauce, I'm going to put a little bit of brandy, just to make it so that when I add the sugar, it'll make it a thicker sauce. Of course, this is all going to cook off, most of it, so it's not going to cause problems with our ice cream. Of course, this is completely optional if you don't choose to use butter or brandy. Totally fine. It's going to taste delicious. This is just going to make the sauce a little bit different and a little bit easier to blend. Now that that's cooked a little bit, I'm ready to add my sugars. So I'm going to add a little bit of regular brown sugar. I'm not going to add it all yet. This was about maybe 1/4 cup that I just added. I want to see how the sauce develops. And I'm going to add about the same of the monk fruit gold sweetener. So I have a little bit of fake sugar, a little bit of real sugar, and I'm going to add a little bit of molasses just to give it that rich, sugary flavor without it being overly sweet. Like when you use white sugar, sometimes it just has one dimension. This is going to have some really good flavors in it. And I'm going to stir this up until it starts turning into kind of a sauce. And then I'm going to taste it, and I've got my salt here because when you're using a lot of sugars, you have to make sure you put a little bit of salt in so it's not sickly sweet. This is looking really good. The sauce has set up nicely. I think it's the perfect amount of sauce. I don't think we need more sugar. I did taste it. It was good, but it needed a little bit of salt. So I'm just going to put my hand over it so I make sure some is coming out. I don't want too much. I just want just a little bit. And I think this is ready to set aside. And now I'm ready to make my base, which is kind of a vanilla ice cream base, but it's gonna kind of taste like cake. For my vanilla base, I'm gonna start by microwaving my cream cheese. I've got maybe a tablespoon. I microwaved the cream cheese for about 30 seconds, and I added a little bit of milk so that it wouldn't burn. Sometimes if you cook it, it gets stuck to the bottom and it's really difficult. So I don't know how much to add to this, so I'm gonna start with my cooked pineapple. I'm gonna add it to this bullet, and that's the first step. So as you can see, it's got a really nice sauce, and it caramelized the pineapple, and it smells delicious. It smells like a pineapple upside down cake already. And hopefully you guys are neater than I am, but you get the idea. Getting this into a container. Okay, we'll clean up a little bit, but we've got a lot of nice sauce here. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of vanilla. Not too much, because this has a lot of flavor, I can already tell, and I don't want to overwhelm it. A little bit of my vanilla bean paste. Maybe like just a drop. What's nice about the paste is it puts kind of little flecks of the vanilla in there. Now, I'm going to use this sparingly, but I'm going to put a little bit of almond extract. Maybe like 5 little drops. I'm going to put a little bit of this Jell-O. It's not only going to help with the flavor, but it's going to help make it creamy. Then I'm going to add a little bit of cream. Oops, forgot to take the top off. Brand new cream. So I don't want it to be too rich, so I'm going to add a little bit of cream and a little bit more milk. Move that aside. About to the top. Now I'm going to blend this up and taste. After mixing this up and tasting it, it was really good. I thought it needed a little bit more vanilla, a little bit more of the almond extract, and I added a little bit more molasses, and it's actually really delicious, and it does taste like the pineapple upside down cake. I was thinking, we'll decide after we spin this, but we might end up doing more caramelized pineapple and adding it as a mix-in at the end to make it, with the cherries, to make it so you can actually see pieces of the pineapple, because you can't see the pineapple. It's all pulverized and mixed in. It does have a really good flavor though. So I'm ready to put this in my creamy container. It's not quite to the top, but it's almost there. It's perfect. And I'll be ready to spin this tomorrow. After freezing this, it has a nice smooth top, so I'm ready to spin it. I'm going to do it on full ice cream mode. After running this on one spin, I have to admit I'm a little disappointed because it kind of like looks like it over spun. Maybe I didn't leave it in the freezer long enough. I did it like 20 hours and I thought that was enough. I was kind of cheating, but we'll see how it scoops. I definitely don't want to mix it anymore. I'll scoop it and taste it. I'm sure it's still going to be good. And the good news is I can refreeze it for 24 hours at least, and it probably will be perfect. So let's see. I'm going to scoop this out. It's definitely soft. I'll show you what it looks like. Still looks good. I'm going to put some toppings on it because this is pineapple upside down cake. I made some of the cooked pineapple with the sauce, so I'm going to drizzle that over the top with a little bit of the pineapple. And If this wasn't overspun, I would mix in these cherries, but I'm going to just put them in because if I spin this again, it's gonna definitely be way soupy. So I'll put a cherry on top to make it look pretty. So there's the finished product. It still looks good. And now it's time to taste it. Move this aside. This is the true test. The flavor is good, but unfortunately it's icy. It's not too bad, but it's not the texture that I would have hoped for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna melt this down. I'm gonna add a little bit of guar gum and put it in the freezer for at least 24 hours, and we'll try again.